Hi, thank you for joining me again. I'm Shawna Robbins. I'm a national board certified health and wellness coach, best-selling author, and sleep expert and hormone expert. And so hopefully you caught my last video on estrogen. If you didn't, why don't you head over there and go check that out. Today we're going to talk about progesterone. And having low progesterone can be a serious drag. I know I speak from experience. So how do you know if you have low progesterone? Well, just like estrogen, you need to have a blood test to tell you how your progesterone levels are doing. And so, but also, you can have symptoms, right? As women, we're pretty intuitive. We have an idea of what's going on, but I would definitely recommend that you have a doctor take a look at your blood work first and foremost. But let's look at what low progesterone is going to look like. It's going to look like that racing brain in the middle of the night. It's going to look like that restless sleep, waking up often, being kind of wired and tired. That's, having exhaustion, but also feeling like you can't unwind. Anxiety, depression, spotting in your cycle, having irregular cycles, having fertility problems, having bloating, these things are all going to come from having low progesterone levels. So it's really important that you get it checked. And if you have low progesterone, that you do your best to get it fixed, because you don't want to have too much estrogen and not enough progesterone, because that's what creates estrogen dominance. And that's not a good thing for your body either. So as you can see from these videos, your hormones are this beautiful dance of different times of the month, different phases of your life. And so really keeping everything balanced, especially with this superwoman syndrome that we're all running around trying to be everything to everybody and, taxing ourselves and stressing out our adrenals. It's really, really hard to keep your hormones steady and balanced, but that's going to be our goal. I hope by the end of these series of talks, you'll have a better idea of how to do that. But the first most important thing you need to do is lower your cortisol levels. Why? Because what cortisol does is it steals pregnenolone. Pregnenolone are the building blocks to progesterone. And not only does it steal the building blocks of progesterone, but it also, high cortisol levels will actually get into the progesterone receptors on your cells and block them. So you can't even absorb the progesterone that you even have or that you even make. So lowering your cortisol levels, coming up with a meditation technique, a relaxation technique, breathing, yoga, walking, gratitude journaling, praying, whatever it is for you that can help bring down your cortisol levels every day. It's non-negotiable. You have to do it. It's fundamentally going to help your body rewrite itself and balance itself with your hormones. So the number one thing, of course, that I want to help women with is to sleep better. So by increasing your progesterone levels and actually lowering your cortisol levels, it's more supportive to the sleep. So let's talk about some other things that you can do to help support your progesterone levels. It's lowering the cortisol. Obviously, number one, I'm hitting on that again, just to make sure you got it, right? All right, number two, a lot of women don't realize, is having low cholesterol levels. If your cholesterol levels are too low, you're not going to have the building blocks of progesterone. So your progesterone levels are going to be too low. So if you're on statins, or you have a highly restrictive diet, or you have disordered eating where you don't eat any fat or cholesterol, you are going to be hindered in the progesterone department. So it's really important that you're getting enough cholesterol, where that looks like organic, unrefined coconut oil or MCT oil, eggs, grass-fed lean beef, grass-fed butter. These things are all really, really important, not only for your brain, but for you to be able to make the right hormones. So make sure that you don't have cholesterol levels that are too low. Really, really important. And then, of course, if you're on birth control pills or the patch, you're going to have low progesterone levels because you're going to be using synthetic progesterone. And synthetic progesterone is not absorbed the same way as natural progesterone is. So that's something else to consider if you're having mood swings or anxiety or depression or sleeplessness or restless sleep, all of that. You might want to rethink any kind of synthetic hormone that you might possibly be on. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the foods and supplements that you can use to help raise your progesterone levels naturally. So some of my favorite foods are going to be nuts. Actually, I love nuts, especially for women. They're full of healthy fats, they're full of fiber, they have protein, and they help build your progesterone levels, which is amazing. So we're looking at walnuts, almonds, cashews, and then the seeds. Pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds, I love for progesterone building. And I also really like sunflower seeds. They're great. Try to get them raw if you can, and eat a handful of them every day. They're wonderful for building progesterone. So, and the other things that are very helpful are going to be your kind of your comfort foods, right? Your squashes, your potatoes, especially red potatoes, pumpkin, kind of like those warm, hearty, winter time vegetables are really, really great at helping to build progesterone. And so are your cruciferous vegetables, which is going to be your cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. So make sure that you're getting at least, a few cups of these vegetables in every single day, and getting your nuts and getting your seeds. And you will definitely see a difference to your progesterone as long as you bring down the cortisol levels. Just going to keep saying that. Just going to keep hitting on that subject. It is the most important thing you can do to build your progesterone. All right, so the last thing to touch on are the supplements. I love vitamin B6 to help build progesterone. And some of the building blocks of progesterone are in vitamin B6, and our diets tend to be totally deficient in this. Same with vitamin E. I recommend taking a vitamin E supplement as well. Pregnenolone, like I said, when you have high cortisol levels, it actually steals the pregnenolone, which is the building blocks. You can actually take a pregnenolone supplement. And so I recommend that as well too. So at least you give your body, if you've just had a rough couple of weeks or a rough couple of days, your cortisol levels are really high, your sleep is impacted, your hormones are impacted, at least you give yourself some pregnenolone to kind of make up for the steal that is going on in your body. And wild yams are really amazing. You can take a supplement, or there's an over-the-counter wild yam cream that you can get, which naturally helps to build your progesterone levels. But if you're, like I said in the beginning, if your cortisol levels are too high, you're too stressed out, you're not going to have enough progesterone. Even if you're slathering yourself with all this wild yam or taking all these supplements, it's not going to help you, because your body has a hierarchy of hormones, and your body is going to take what it needs first and foremost for cortisol, because cortisol is going to save your life. And so that's where you need to start. So I hope this was helpful for you. Stay for the next video. We're going to talk about the macros, how to eat for your macros, counting your macros, which is, I feel, one of the best ways that you can use nutrition to help you build all your hormones, not just your estrogen and your progesterone. So hopefully you'll stick around. Thanks.